Hello and welcome back to another episode of LMScast. My name is Chris Badgett, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about things you need to consider if you're thinking about creating an online course as a musician. And the first thing I want to say with teaching music, it might seem impossible to do that through the internet, but it is actually quite possible. There's people making great income and build a great business and helped a lot of people learn different music skills on the internet. A couple examples that come to mind are like Jermaine Griggs or Driggs, I think I'm saying his name right. He teaches people how to play music by ear. And I know people who teach music through Skype from different parts of the world. And I know others who teach people how to play piano in a passive format where there's like no live interaction. It's just more of a teaching method and methodology. So it is very possible. So the first thing you need to consider if you're going to be teaching music online or creating an online course around an instrument or some kind of musical education is to realize that it's very possible, and there's a lot of great examples of people out there who are already doing it. So the first big thing we need to think about once we've made the decision that, yes, it's possible to create an online music course is to think about the venue, because we may be very used to having a music studio that our students come to, or making house calls, or teaching in some kind of music school or classroom. So the venue is always the challenging part about music, but with the internet, we have venues all over the place. It's wherever there's a good internet connection and a laptop computer, even a tablet or a mobile phone even. But so first we need to just think about the venue. And once we come to terms with the fact that, okay, we can do it from anywhere, we could, as long as we have a quiet environment or whatever, we can create our training or have our live music class with the student through the internet. That really solves the venue problem. And it's also really efficient. It saves a lot of time traveling to classes or paying for the overhead of buildings, and taking the commute out and all that sort of thing. And really, you can reach the entire world, which is amazing. If you're used to just teaching within like 100 or 50 or 20 miles of where you live, what if you could teach whatever your specialty is across the entire world? So that the venue question, now that starts to dissolve away. And it's important to have like good equipment so you can get good sound, like have a room or just somewhere to do your online music courses, whether it's passive or active, where there's decent quality. But don't get too obsessed, because you may not need top shelf recording studio quality audio and video and equipment and that sort of thing. It's the most important thing is that you have a methodology, you have a way of teaching people, and your hardware, your software, everything's good enough to make it happen. So the next thing we need to think about is, are we going to be teaching in a passive manner, or are we going to be teaching in an active manner? So a passive music course, you could record on your own from home. Let's say teaching people how to play piano by ear. You could record that course and teach how that's possible without ever interacting with the student. Record those in terms of videos, maybe have some worksheets, some PDF documents, maybe some audio that goes in your lessons, and you're good to go. So that's like a very passive version. Or let's say you're teaching somebody how to play a really popular rock and roll song like Stairway to Heaven or something like that on the guitar. You could do that and not have any live interaction with your student, and then you can put it online and, say for $19 or $99, I'm going to teach you to go from not knowing how to play the guitar to being able to play Stairway to Heaven after a couple of weeks of practice. And that's very acceptable. That's a passive online course, probably video based, audio based, that sort of thing. But if we want to go active or in person, what we do is we create we need to have a way to also meet with people. So you could do that with a service like Zoom, I recommend, and also with a service called Skype. I'm sure you've heard of some kind of way to meet in person. But what I recommend if you're going to do that, yes, you don't need the venue anymore. You can do it with your computer from anywhere, but you're not really scaling yourself. You're still kind of trading your time for money. What I would recommend you do is consider a kind of a blended approach where you have some video content. Let's go back to our example of learning to play Stairway to Heaven on the guitar. Let's say you offer that and you have the video lessons and so on, but then you also offer a weekly one-on-one 30 minutes to an hour session where you meet directly with the student, and then you can critique them, or maybe you notice they're holding the fretboard wrong, or they're not quite getting the chords right, or something, they have some bad habit that's preventing them from mastering the song, and you can help them develop as a musician in a live manner. So that then complements the online or passive training you have. So that's the kind of the blended approach, which I highly recommend. That's also a lot more valuable. You know, if we sell our passive version, Learn to Play Stairway to Heaven in the weekend for $19, if it's going to include 4, 30-minute sessions, I might now charge $200, $300 because you're getting me one-on-one as a teacher. So therefore, there's more value there. So that's another great thing about using an online service to have a live meeting. Like video kind of face meetings aren't just for corporations or for connecting with family who live on another part of the country or in another country. It's also for that kind of exchange, and there's some great tools out there for that. And then the last thing I would say to consider is just, if you are creating a music course, is to be careful, because you've mastered a skill of learning to play an instrument. You've developed habits there, you've developed proficiency, and there's a cognitive bias we often fall prey to called I believe it's called the fundamental attribution error, which means just because I'm good at something or a skill, I'll be good at another skill. So if you've developed a skill as a musician, you've proven that you have endurance and that you can work at something for a long time and become good and almost bring the talent into your subconscious so you can kind of play or sing without thinking about it. But the skill of building an online course and integrating the live components, it's not necessarily, the tools are out there. And yes, if you want to tinker around with it, you can, and you can figure that stuff out. And I recommend you should do that if you're on a really tight budget. But if you have some funds and you're looking to set something up or have the online piece set up for you, I would encourage you to have a professional do that. We have a service where we do that for people. A lot of them actually are musicians or other kinds of artists. And it's for people who are kind of already successful. They know they don't want to learn how to become web developers, designers. They just want that technology partner to help with that. And you can learn more about that if you go to lifterlms.com/my-music-courses. That's lifterlms.com/my-music-courses. And I'll tell you a little more about that. But first, let me just say, I wish you all the best. There's so much great musical talent out there, especially if you have a micro niche, something. I would encourage you to get really specific and make your offering very niche, like learn how to play Stairway to Heaven in the weekend, or teach somebody how to play one song on the ukulele. These are great courses where it's not necessarily ukulele 101. Get really targeted and specific, and I think you'll be more likely to get some early success than if you're kind of general in nature. So, all right. Well, I wish you all the best in creating your online music courses, and we'll catch you in the next episode.